Mm-hmm. No, he wasn't young, but you can still trust me. This infidelity, no, it's not cheating when you were on my mind, yes. He looked like you, but I heard love is blind. My brother had like a fourth-hand Strat, a beautiful red Strat that he must have got. It was his second guitar, so he must have got it when he was about 15, and I would have been like 11 or 12, and it was the most beautiful thing in the world, yeah. It's such a beautiful guitar. I mean, it's got to be probably the most attractive guitar there is, you know, but I don't know, just everything, you know. I don't know whether it was the fact that it was the first electric guitar I saw or, you know, because I was really young, but it's just, you know, the guitar or just the shape of a guitar represents so much, and especially when you're young and you're growing up and you're looking at the world in different ways, you know. I guess my brother used to go out, it was his, like, I was forbidden to touch this guitar, right? And when he used to go out, he used to leave it in such a way that if I played it, he would know. But sometimes he'd forget to do that, so I would be able to play it. But I'll never forget, he'd come home and I would literally leap away from the guitar and run out the room. I've started playing on his guitar. I mean, it's easier to play an electric. So that's how I learned, you know, when my fingers were still really soft, you know. But then I got my own acoustic and I was okay, you know. It was so good to not have to say, can I use your guitar? You know, it was my guitar. And then he'd have to come to me and say, can I use your guitar? It was great. It's great. I must have been about 13 or 14, and I had money from, I don't know how I had this money, but I had money from work, because I was acting when I was a kid in bits and pieces here and there. So yeah, I went to Bond Street, I went to Chapels in Bond Street, and I'd seen, it was a Fender actually, it was an acoustic Fender, I can't remember what it was, but it was, you know, it wasn't an amazing guitar, it was a good starting point guitar, you know, and I just played every day. You know, no one said to me, you've got to play for at least this amount of time. It was all I wanted to do, you know. Yeah, and it's so easy to teach yourself if you have, you know, love for guitar. You know, people say to me all the time, how can you taught yourself, you know? And there's things people can always show you, but the truth is if you learn how to play guitar off someone, you just kind of learn to play it like them, you know what I mean? You know, and that's why I can say that while I'm not even probably an adequate guitarist, I'm still a distinctive guitarist, you know what I mean? I sound different. Well, I was just saying before, you know, I never really liked a lot of guitar bands. You know, I always loved Hendrix, always. There's room in everyone's life for Hendrix, you know what I mean? But I never really liked a whole bunch of bands, you know. I liked that kind of 70s stuff, Velvet Underground. I loved the way they used guitars and just stuff like, the stuff I listen to is more, the stuff I listen to if it isn't hip hop and if it's not straight traditional jazz, it's stuff like Rotary Connection and Minnie Riperton, that kind of stuff, you know, I love all that, you know, and Weather Report, you know, that's the kind of guitar I listen to. A lot of chords I write with are quite influenced by the way her and James Taylor would write, you know, just quite warm chords, majory chords, and, you know, just some nice, you know, nice bass notes and just a warmth, you know. I've never been one, to me guitar is a really warm instrument, and that's why I love it as opposed to the piano, is because it's such a warm instrument. You get so much warmth from a guitar, especially with those kind of chords, you know, those major sevenths with the nice, you know, bass notes and all that. When you have a guitar, it's not so much like, I know I look good. When you walk out, I know I look good. It's more that you feel power. I guess it must be akin to having a dick, because I've never had a dick, obviously. It must be like that. When I go on stage and I've got a guitar, I feel like no one can touch me. Like, not in a I'm so good way, but just in a, I feel it's all my strength, like, here, and it's, I don't know. The guitar, to me, the guitar represents, like, my music that's inside me, but in external, you know what I mean? The external. So I guess that's why it's like having a dick. So it's like myself, but out, I guess.
No, it is. It's a phallic thing. It was with
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's what it is for me. It's not so much an image thing, it's just that I feel like my own thing goes, when I have a guitar on stage, I feel strong. Yeah, you're more exposed and not so exposed all at once, you know. I guess when I go on stage with my Strat, I feel like I'm coming from two different places at once, I guess. I feel like sometimes if all I have to do is sing, I think the audience are, I don't know, you know, such a big part of my thing is about respect and wanting respect from musicians, not necessarily the audience, but musicians. Sometimes I think if I play as well, you know, that is a thing. If you play your instrument, you know, as a young female artist, if you play your instrument on stage, it looks great for you. You know, like, Katie Melua, she has a guitar on stage and it looks great for, she needs that. It looks really good, you know, that's her little gimmick and it works. So, yeah, if I don't have a guitar on stage, sometimes I feel a bit like I haven't got as much to give, you know what I mean? I feel a bit like just a voice. If you're a musician, you either, you go one of two ways. You either completely devote yourself to your musicianship or you don't, and that's literally it. And, you know, I wish I could be that kind of person. I think I'm the kind of person who in life, I need more than just what I can get from life. I need to express myself fully through a guitar, and I will be able to do that, please God, in 10 years. I know I'm missing out on something by not being able to express myself like that. But people like PJ Harvey, I have so much respect for people like that. She looks amazing with her guitar, not just because like there's a girl playing the guitar, wow, because she has so much strength. You can see the strength that the guitar gives her, you know, it just comes out of her, which is the same thing I have. I wouldn't say, in real life, you know, I'm not shy, but I'm not someone who's all over something. When I'm on stage and I have a guitar on stage, you know, I'm like a man, I guess. A wicked solo, that's not, to me, what being a guitarist is about, you know. That's important and it's nice and it's like, wow, you know, but it's more so I can be all over everything, so I can feel something and just be able to go, this is what that feels like. Tonight is such an amazing thing. I love doing stuff like this, which is just about musicians and not about, these are the musicians we'll be releasing this year with our little record company package. Like, I love stuff like this. It's so amazing to be a part of it, and you know, something like this, you feel like, yeah, I must be all right because these are legends, and these aren't people who are here just because they're famous. These people who are here because they're like, their musicianship and, you know, they're legends. You know, so it's amazing to be around people like that. But you know, I keep calling Brian May Sir. That's quite, I keep calling him Sir. But what else do you say? You know, like.
Well, that's really embarrassing.
I know, that's what, he probably hates that. He's probably like, she called me Sir. Don't talk to her. My guitar heroes are obviously Hendrix and Shuggie Otis as well. Shuggie Otis is a massive influence on me. You know, when I listen to Shuggie Otis, and I don't even know what he played, I don't know what kind of guitar he played, but when I listen to him, I feel like like what I just said, I feel like he would have a feeling about something and then just be able to channel it straight through his instrument. You know, Shuggie Otis was amazing, and I'd love to be able to make honest music like that, you know, something that is on wax or on CD, the same as it is in my head, you know, that clear vision from one thing to the other. I'd love to do that. I like anything that sounds like nothing else, you know what I mean? I like things that just sound different, you know. I just like things that stand out, really. It was just before Christmas, and I just bought myself, my birthday's September, it's just been, right? So, and it was coming up to Christmas, and for my birthday, I just bought myself my 335. So I didn't have any excuses to go and buy another guitar. And I knew that if I bought another guitar for, what, 600 quid, my mum would have a go at me. So I bought this guitar, and I didn't live with my mum then, I lived elsewhere, so I thought she will never find out, I'll just, whatever. And I had hooks in where I used to live. So I put my new guitar, I put my 335 on one wall, my brand new, beautiful Daphne Blue Strat on the other wall. Beautiful. My mum comes in, like, the same day, and she goes, "What's that?" And I was like, "It's not mine." And she was like, "Whose is it then?" And I was like, "It's for Alex." And I basically told her that I'd bought it for my brother for Christmas. And I lied just so I could have this guitar. And Christmas came around, and they were waiting for me to give my brother this guitar, but I never gave him this guitar, so they never said anything. They weren't, because they didn't want to embarrass me in front of him or anything, so they didn't say anything. And then Boxing Day, my dad rang me up, "Yeah, what are you going to do about that guitar you were going to give Alex?" And I was like, "Yeah, Dad, you know what? I've got kind of attached to that guitar now." And he was like, "Oh, whatever." But I had to keep that one under wraps for like 2 months. I had to keep saying to my mum, "Yeah, I'm going to give it to him," and then I could pass it off like, "Yeah, you know what? I started playing it a lot with gigs, and I should really keep it now." But I had to pass it off as my brother's for a couple of months.